Well, hello, folks out there in YouTube land. It's time for the pre-show. Well, there's my alarm for the pre-show. Turn that off. 30 minutes to go, folks. It's been an interesting afternoon. South Carolina, of course, gave Alabama a scare. That was something. Been watching Mississippi State take a leak down their own leg against Georgia. That's a total mismatch. And let's see what other games we got going on. As a matter of fact, I'll pull up some of these scores. We'll go over them, and then we'll start talking about the Florida game and all that good stuff. As you can see, Texas is just totally whooping the crap out of Oklahoma. I don't care for that. Penn State's tied for USC with USC. And Penn State always starts out like this. They love to start out 5-0, and then they crap the bed. Notre Dame's beating up on lowly Stanford. California is only 2 back of Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's 5-0. Let's see here. Illinois is beating Purdue. BYU beating Arizona. Georgia beating the crap out of Mississippi State. And then here comes the big games. Florida against Tennessee, 7 o'clock, ESPN, in case y'all are wondering what channel. Ohio State and Oregon, that's number 2 versus number 3. Then we got the fake injury bowl at 7:30 where Lane, we'll see if Lane does all that. Supposedly he's going to stop that. That's what they're saying in a report by the Ole Miss administration. I guess they got tired of taking crap. While I'm happy they've at least acknowledged it after 5 years of Lane Kiffin's fake injuries, we'll see if they actually come through. I mean, I'm not. Yeah, Dr. T, I don't trust it. Do you? I don't. I think when it comes down to it, if he needs a timeout, I just think he's going to do it. Colorado and Kansas State. That should be pretty interesting. Let me see. Is that at 7:30 as well? I'm sure it is, because usually those are the late. Unless is that like a 10 o'clock game? I'll bet it is. Because it seems like I remember him complaining about that. If I was, you know what I'd be saying. I'd be saying, run, Nico, run. Because that needs to happen, because he's good enough.
Because I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and doggone it, people like me.
Exactly. And people do like him. I know everybody in Knoxville does. So let's see here who all we got. See if we've got any interesting comments in here. Let's see. Carrie, you were the very first comment, so I gotta pull you up. I hope so. Y'all give me your score predictions. I'm going to give you mine at the end. But y'all tell me what you think. I thought Lenore's played really well. He had, of course, some absolutely devastating turnovers because that's what the guy does. But he's a very talented dude. I mean, you could see it in the spring game, but he screws up at the worst times. He's inexperienced. He really is. But man, I tell you, I saw some play out of him. He flashes big time. He could be good. He could be a very good one. We'll see. I think his coach after that, they probably won't fire him unless he just has a complete meltdown. I would think. All right. So most of y'all, let's see, has anybody got Florida winning? Let's see. Country Vols gone 35-13, 42-6, 42-17 for Pokey T Rave. Let's see what Go Big Orange has. 32-17. Luther, 20. That could be. That's a pretty good guess. Let's see what Slim, I hope you're right. I really, really do. 38-17. I don't think we're going to score that many points on him. There's a 28-13. That one's interesting. 48-25 by Big Brick Stove 51. Let's see what else we've got in here. Let's see, 28-17. We got a 21-10. Got a 38-27. So I'll go ahead and give you mine early. I'll go ahead and tell you. I think it's going to be 24-17 Vols. I think we're going to win by 7. That's where I'm at. I don't think 15 is right. Now, maybe, I don't know. Unless I start seeing Nico playing like he did in the Citrus, running, throwing, doing all those different things. I want to see him out there balling and causing chaos for the defense. I think we're going to struggle otherwise to score a ton of points. I'm seeing us in the 20s, which makes me nervous, but, our defense is pretty good. It's going to be a tough game. It's going to be a war. And I can't I hate Florida. Now, it's not a real hatred. It's a sports hatred, but I hate them. I hate them.
Let the hate flow through you.
Palpatine. Leave me alone, Palpatine. Let's see. Yeah, there's a bunch of big-time blue chip players that'll be at this game. We need to win this game. But Billy Napier's coaching for his life. If we were to whoop up on him big time, I think he'd get fired right after. I think he'd be fired next week. If we won by, like 3 touchdowns or something like that, I think they'd be done with him because he's hanging on by a thread. I mean, they were ready to get rid of him after the 3rd game. So Bama's on. I tell you, I watched Kangaroo. He didn't look so happy. He said it's not the Alabama team he's used to watching. So we'll see. We will see. Here's a 24-21. That's a definite possibility. We'll see. I would take that at this point. But I want to see that offense take off. We need to be in the 30s at least. Feel like we need to be in the 30s. If we do that, I think we'll be okay. Hopefully. James says it's great to be a Tennessee Vol. It sure is. I tell you, we've been good the last few years. We really have. I've been pleased. I just want to see that offense take off again. And I know we have to have a dual threat quarterback to do that. That's one of the big problems we had last year with Joe. Joe was a hesitant runner. He had great top end speed, but he really didn't like to run. It wasn't his thing. He wasn't a natural runner. This guy, Nico, is. We saw that in the very first game he ever started. He's a natural runner. He's got to get those negative thoughts that the coaches have put in his mind of, hey, don't run, because now we're in a playoff situation. We need him to play at his max. And a big part of his asset group, besides having a great arm, is that he's a great runner. That's why Heupel and why the NIL is so high, because he does both. And I think he thought, hey, I can probably protect him, not have him run any of the first 6 games. We can probably win all those games until we get to Alabama. Then he thought I'll probably have to, let him go after that. Let's see. This never gets old.
Roadhouse.
Yeah, we need Roadhouse tonight. That's for sure. I can tell you that the Vols, they need to bring it. They need to bring it.
You tell them I'm coming, and hell's coming with me, you hear? Hell's coming with me!
That's 100% right. 1,000% right.
Double our investment in Omaha.
Omaha! 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 Omaha!
Or you could use.
Yeah, we need to see a lot of Omaha. Oh, boy. I'll be getting a little bit nervous. This is the game that I look forward to every year the most. I know that probably surprises you, but the Florida Gators is just, it's the game. I grew up in the 90s, in the 80s, and in the 90s, whoever won that game won the national championship, basically, or at least was going to play for it. And that's just kind of how it was. You had Steve Spurrier, and, of course, he would poke us every chance he got, which was actually pretty funny, even though it'd make you mad. And we had Philip Fulmer, And there was about 7 or 8 years there where it was just about that one ball game, and it was always like the third game in the schedule. And we didn't have a playoff, of course, because we've never been allowed to have a playoff until this year. And you had to win. If you didn't, you were out. You were just out. That's the way it was. There was no, getting through with one loss. It just didn't happen very often. So that's why I was always so stressed out by it. Dang it, I'm just going to say it. There is no tomorrow. There's not. We have to win.
He's hooking. He's hooking. Damn, Rod, come on. What's the matter with you?
Tomorrow. Let's do it tomorrow.
There is no tomorrow. There is no tomorrow.
Apollo knows. Apollo had it 100% right. There is no tomorrow. You win tonight or you're in big trouble. That's just kind of the way that it is. There's no in between. We got to have it, period. I think if they release this offense, let Nico be Nico, the defense flies around with their hair on fire, which they will. Neyland will be next level fired up. We've got the checkerboard, the light show. They're going to have a big light show, I'm sure. They're going to do the fireworks. It'll be all of that. And everybody's going to be in the right mood. You can count on it. So I think that's going to help us a lot. We're going to need it. What they're going to try to do, I can tell you, I know exactly what Florida's going to try to do. They're going to try to control the clock, run it as much as they can. They're going to try to dink and dunk with Graham Mertz, which he's actually really good at. And he gets rid of the ball very quickly. It's hard to sack him simply because he gets rid of that ball so fast. And it's all 3 yards, 5 yards, 1 yard, and then hopes that the guy can run. And they'll run it a little bit, and then occasionally he'll take off on you when you least expect it, and he'll get the first down by a foot. It'll be 3rd down and 6, and he'll somehow get it by this much. I've seen him do it too many times to us. Graham Mertz. And then we'll see DJ Lagway. Lagway will try to air it out a little bit, and he may try to run on us a little bit. But I think they're going to give us a heavy dose of Graham Mertz. What we're going to try to do, obviously, I hope we don't go into the 7 protect deal. I hope we go with 5 and get rid of the ball quickly, and then also let Nico run and run the ball down their throats. Because if they're going to do the 3-3-5 against us, I'm going to run right into that, and I'm going to let Nico run probably 8 times tonight. I would have 8 called runs for him. And some of them would be a quarterback draw, and some of them would be where he holds on to the ball instead of giving it to Dylan, where he does the little in-between where he tries to decide. And that way, that'll get those edge rushers from crashing in on Dylan so much. And I think Dylan will have a good game. If Nico runs, I'll bet you Dylan Sampson has a big night. I think if Nico runs 8 times, I'll bet you Dylan gets 150 yards. That's just my thinking on it, because they're so focused on Dylan Sampson because they know Nico won't run or they won't let him run. That's what needs to happen. And just, ball out, do your thing. And I think Nico will play better like that. I think he'll feel more part of the game. He'll get his momentum going. I remember how many times Hendon Hooker would do that. And Joe Milton would occasionally run, and whenever he did, he'd come up fired up, and he would play better. He won the ball game for us against Kentucky last year. If you'll remember, Joe Milton, not only was he the key runner and Dylan Sampson, but it was 3rd down and 7, and he ran a 1st down and got down inbounds so the clock would keep running, and Kentucky had to use a timeout, which was one of the smartest moves. It was really hard for him to stay in bounds and not just run out, and he didn't. He needed the ball, and it was the biggest play of the game. And it crushed Kentucky because then that ended the game. So Joe running was a big help in that game. And that's what I want to see out of Nico. But Nico's such a better runner. Joe had great top end speed. He ran the ball like 21 miles per hour when he was at his top end speed, but he wasn't elusive. He was a little bit, he was a little bit gangly. and didn't have that quick twitch, just the way that Hendon did, Hendon would just crucify him. And I think Nico long-term can do that. Maybe not quite as quick as Hendon, but darn close. He's got great top end speed too. For 6'6", he's incredibly fast and elusive. And I think we'll see that arm tonight, which should be very helpful. But we're going to have to run the ball heavily against them because they're going to put the 3-3-5 on us. And they're going to try to keep us from going deep. And we need to crucify them for that. We need to just 8-yard, 10 yards, 7-yard, 11 yards them to death. Which if they're going to put that weak front up against us with only 3, we should be able to do that. And I know the safeties will be back there spying, and they'll be playing the rush. But they are not ready for Nico to run. The numbers don't work. The numbers don't work for the defense if our quarterback runs. Just doesn't. So I'm pumped about that. Let's see. Let me get back into the comments here and see what all's going on. Yeah, and of course, you always got to tackle. It's the way it is. And Florida's got good running backs. They'll get the extra yard or two every time we tackle them. But, we've got a great defensive front. Our defensive front's as good as anybody's in the country. That's just fact. It's a fact. You don't want me at guard or tackle. Yeah, that would be useful. I've told you folks I would last 2 plays because I'm a little bit lucky I wouldn't get hurt the first play, but the second play I would go out on a stretcher. I just know it. I wouldn't last. Those guys, I don't know how many of y'all have ever been down on the sideline of a college game, but it would shock you. Not only how hard they hit, but how fast they are. I mean, you can see they're fast on TV, but when you're right down there on it and you see it up close, it shocks you. I mean, it doesn't even look real. It is the only thing I can compare it to. It's the same as if you've ever been on the infield of a NASCAR race and you think it looks like those cars are fast. You get in the infield and you see them go by you, and it blows your mind how fast a NASCAR driver drives. It is. It's just a blur. It's like a plane going by you, only it's right on the ground at 120 miles an hour, 100. It's just ridiculous. That to me is one of the. I don't know how anybody drives NASCAR. That would be one of the most stressful things imaginable. People don't realize how athletic you've got to be a NASCAR driver. And you got to do it for hours. It would be. I wouldn't be a good NASCAR driver. Let's see. Pierce going off. We'll see. Yeah, I'd love to see Pierce get about 2 sacks tonight. He's gonna wreak havoc. Even if he, depending on how many sacks he gets, even if it's 0, he's still going to wreak havoc back there. Because realize they have to know where he is at all times. They must know where he is. And they're going to double team him a lot. And he'll go back there and, cause him to do a lot of stupid crap. But we've got multiple guys that can sack and can tackle for loss. I'd love to see us in double-digit tackle for loss and sacks. Like 10 or 11 of them would be fantastic. That would be ideal. Yeah, I would think Ohio State would win tonight. Buckeye Ranger says 42-7. Y'all should beat them. The only problem you're going to have is being at Oregon. But Oregon's they should not be number 3 in the country. They barely won 2 games against very mediocre talent. So I would think Ohio State will win. Twisted Gators ranked 15th. It's on ESPN. Yeah, tonight's ESPN. I just I'll show you what we've got coming up with the various games and such. Let me get into here and I'll share the screen. But, right there at ESPN, 7 o'clock, you've got Ohio State on NBC against Oregon. And then you got ABC and ESPN Plus will be the fake injury bowl between Lane Kiffin and LSU, who claims he's turned over a new leaf, supposedly, or his school has claimed that. I don't know that he claims it, but his school has claimed it. Let's see. Georgia's up 34-17. They're just kind of playing with them now. BYU's up. Illinois' up. Pittsburgh, let's see. Is that a final? It shouldn't be. There's 41 seconds left. Let's see. California's got the ball. Let's see. I'll let you know what's happening with it. But Notre Dame beat the crap out of Stanford. They're in the third quarter. That one doesn't matter. USC's got a 7-point lead. That one's kind of important because Penn State being number 4. If we're gonna get in the playoff, it would help if Penn State had a loss or two. Oh, Pittsburgh. Oh, we almost got an interception. That would have ended it. And then Texas is just beating the crap out of Oklahoma. Texas will be the only undefeated team in the SEC, it would appear. So that's pretty interesting. Uh-oh. New Nico, maybe 28. Man, I'm telling you, original formula. Yeah, I'm tired of this new Coke. I want classic Coca-Cola. You can have this. I want the old Nico. I don't want the don't run, get down Nico every chance. And he can get down once he gets out in the gets out in that green pasture. That's fine. You know, get your 5-10 yards and it's fine to get down. But what you can't do is just immediately go down and not even try to run. Thank you, Joseph, for the super chat there. Yeah, it's time for Nico to. I'm gonna play this again
because I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and doggone it, people like me.
I mean, if Michael Jordan can do it, that's all you got to just let Nico be Nico. It's not Nico's fault. I'll just go ahead and tell you it's not. He would be out there. I know athletes. I lived over at Gibbs Hall for 3 years. Now, I didn't play football. I played on the golf team. But every athlete wants to play at their max level. They don't care who they're playing against. They want to play their max level. The only way you're stopping a quarterback from running, especially when you're really good at it, like Nico is if the coaches are basically forcing you not to use your legs. Because I can tell you right now, if I had a good short game, for example. That I didn't hit the ball really that long, but I had a good short game. Somebody said you're not going to use the wedge. It's like, what? I can't use my wedge around the greens. No, don't use your wedge. You'd have to take the wedge out of my bag. It's like, what are you talking? That's like asking me not to breathe. Believe me, Nico wants to breathe. He wants to be Nico. He's just not allowed to right now, but I'll bet you tonight. I'll bet you that changes because look, our back's against the freaking wall. You might as well know that. Our back is against the wall. It's us against the world. We've got to beat Florida, and then we need to beat Alabama next week. That's a fact because it's going to be really hard to beat Georgia at Georgia. I think these 2 games are must-wins for us. And then if we could somehow beat Georgia at Georgia, that would be fantastic, but I'm not counting on it. It's really hard to win down there, and that is the one team that's had our number when it comes to their defense against our offense. They even stopped our offense in 2022 when nobody could stop us. We were number 1 in the country. So we'll see. We shall see about that. Let's see here. California against Pitt. Now, they may score and win this ball game. They're only down 2. They're down 2 points. There's only a few seconds left. They may kick a field goal. We'll see. We shall see. I don't know how important that game is, though, really. Let's see what's going on with the other one. Let me get back in here. See what's going on with Penn State. Oh, man, they just scored. So they're going to tie the ball game with 2:53 left, Penn State and USC. Extra point is good, it says, so that should be, 30-30. So they're tied, I would think. They weren't down 8, were they? They shouldn't be. It's showing 30-29. I don't think so. I think it's 30-30. Let me remove that. Maybe when I pop it back up, that'll be on there. So I think they're tied. Let's see, have I missed something? I did. There's Hunter. Oh, that's right. Dang it, that's right. Told you, folks, I'm breaking that. This is serious. When you see me start the game with this is super, super serious. This is when I bring the power chain out, I'm not kidding around. And this thing's full of luck. Okay. This is a very fortunate chain. This is how we won. Part of the reason we won the national championship in baseball, this chain right here. I wore it the entire playoff. Okay. The entire playoff. Even, you remember when we had the comeback against Florida State? Y'all remember that? Mm-hmm. Right there. Right there. So don't question it. Don't question it. The Mr. T starter kit. Don't question the chain. And I only pull it out on big, big moments. When it's really, really important, I pull this bad boy out. This chain barely holds this. How heavy this T is. That this chain barely holds it. That's how powerful it is. Let's see. Are we going dark mode? I know we're there doing the checkerboard. I don't know if we're going dark mode or not. I hadn't checked. I know y'all will know. So let's see. Pitt won. Looks like they're interviewing Pitt, so he must have won. Let's go into, let's see what's happening with this one. Let's see what's happening. Now it's 30-30 with 2:53 left. USC's got the ball. 2nd and 1 at USC's 34. So they're driving. That's pretty interesting. USC, man, they've had some heartbreakers, but they beat LSU, if you remember. And speaking of that, y'all know that there was a report that came out that Ole Miss said they're not going to do the fake injuries anymore. They're going to cut that out. And they've talked to Lane Kiffin and supposedly told him not to do that anymore, which good luck with all that, because here's what every time they get a first down or the opponent gets the first down against Lane, you know this is what the defenders are going to do.
Because I'm
wrong one.
Hey, you want to fake injuries? You got it.
Oh my
God!
Oh,
I can't go.
Yeah, that's what they normally do. So we'll be watching tonight at 7:30 to see if Lane Kiffin, how many Kiffin timeouts there are. We'll see. We shall see. All right, we got 3 minutes till now the kickoff will probably be a little after 7, so I'm not as worried about that. But I'll sign off at 7, give you all a chance to get ready for the game, because normally when they have the kickoff, you have to have 5-10 minutes of nonsense. You know how that goes. I mean, that's just life. Let me go to ESPN and see here. Yeah, the California, Pittsburgh. Let's see. Yeah, they're showing commercials upcoming at 7. So I would say there'll be some nonsense, 5 or 10 minutes of nonsense. Yeah, it's just how it is, especially a late game where they're not concerned about getting done at a certain time so they don't mess up the next game. That's usually not as big an issue. But a lot of late night, when you're good, you get a lot of late night games, by the way. Have you noticed how many 7 o'clock games we've had? Now, we got demoted to a 3:30 game against Alabama because both Alabama and Tennessee lost last weekend. So they gave Georgia and Texas the 7 o'clock spot, which is honestly, they deserve it over us because they've got only one loss between the two, and Alabama and we've got at least 2. Hopefully not 3. God. Folks, I can't handle a loss to Georgia. I can't. That's my nemesis. That's my Newman. They are my Newman. I don't even have my Newman thing ready to go. I should have. But I put this thing in there instead.
Let the hate flow through you.
That laugh. That dreaded laugh. Oh, Lord. Anyway. All right, folks. Got my chain. I'm ready to go. It's almost 7 o'clock. I'm ready to rock and roll. I know y'all are too. Let's get this thing done, folks. We got to have – this is it. I'm going to leave you – what am I going to leave you with? Right here, I'm going to leave you with – first, I'm going to leave you with this.
You tell them I'm coming, and hell's coming with me, you hear? Hell's coming with me!
And then I'm going to leave you with this one.
He's hooking! He's hooking! Damn, Rod, come on! What's the matter with you?
tomorrow. Let's do it tomorrow.
There is no tomorrow. There is no tomorrow.
All right, folks. I'll see y'all after the game. I'll do an after game, even if we lose. Oh God, I can't. Oh, it'll be awful. But anyway, I'll see you after the game. Go Vols! The power of the T and the chain.